We got our guest here, man. We got Jalil Hackett here, man. I told y'all we had Jalil Hackett coming on. We're gonna continue. Let's give our guests a round of applause. Jalil, what's going on, fam?
What's up? What's up? What's up? How you doing, Malachi?
I'm doing good, man. I'm just over here rotisserizing the duck. That's all. But shout out to you, fam. What's going on with you, brother? You all right?
I'm chilling, man. I'm chilling, man. I'm thankful I'm here.
Hey, man, look, man, I'm telling you, bro. Let me tell you something, boy. I'm proud of you, boy. Hey, listen. When you fought Derevyanchenko, and I saw you, bro, I didn't know you could box like that. I said, damn, bro. I said, who the fuck this is? This can't be Jalil. Because I'm watching, right? I did a fight party. I went live for it. I'm crossing my arms and shit. I'm looking. You know what I mean? You know, I'm looking for anything. I'm like, okay. Because I'm going to keep it real with him. I'm looking, but I ain't going to lie, bro. You made me proud. Now, you was mixing it up a little bit now. You was getting hit with some right hands. I said, okay, Jalil going back to what he want to do. He finna go bang and this and that, and he don't felt this power. You know what I mean? He trying to get him up out of there. But when you box, I had no idea you had that dimension to your game. Explain to me, my brother, I don't want to say the game plan, but was that the game plan?
The game plan was to box. Box the whole fight and fight in spurts. When you want to fight, fight. But when you want to box, box. So, the game plan was to box most of the fight and then just still fighting parts where he wants to box.
Oh man, okay, cool. Cause I was trying to figure out because like you took his shot very well. Like you was catching him, he was catching you, and I'm screaming. I'm like, man, Jalil, what you doing? Man, stop trying to. Hey, you need to go. I need to send you the link. I need to send you like the actual fight party, right? I need to send you the clips so you can see, bro. I'm like, man, you boxing him up. I said, boy, Jalil ready to go to war.
Yeah, hey, in between rounds. Every round, I just kept saying, like, is this the round we go get him? And my dad just kept saying, nah, not yet.
Hey man, look, man, I fuss with you, bro, because you got an old school throwback mentality. You don't have the modern day Gen Z fighter today. You're not with the diva shit, this and that. I mean, if you was, I'll tell you, but you're not with that. And I like the fact that you just want to get it in, you want to fight. And I really appreciate what you bring to the sport because I'm gonna tell you why I say this. Because I look at everybody, right? And I have criticisms and stuff like that, but then I have a boxing criteria. You ain't gonna find no boxing channel got no boxing criteria. My boxing criteria is this. I have 5. My first is this is how I judge every fighter. This is how I judge you. What is the level of competition that he's fought? And I do this over a period of time. You know what I mean? Like you've been in the game for a while and you had 20-some, 25, 30-some fights. That's how I look at that. What is the level of competition who you fought? How many top 10 fighters have you fought? Did you dominate the weight division? That's only if you was there for a long period of time, like a Marvin Hagler or something like that, or Roberto Duran at lightweight. How many career-defining fights have you had? I look at this as a career-defining fight for you, Derevyanchenko. And did you fight the best in the division? I look at Derevyanchenko as one of the best. And from a level of competition standpoint, I look at Derevyanchenko as a high level of competition. So you have crossed out probably like 3 to almost 4 out of the 5. So that's how I judge every fighter. And I ain't gonna lie, bro. How did you get that fight?
So basically, they were telling me like we want you in a step up fight, and I said, all right, cool.
Who is they?
Just Zufa.
Okay.
And I said, cool, because the numbers they've been throwing are lovely. So it's like it ain't really about how much are y'all paying. It's about when we fighting and where we fighting. So, they sent the first guy they sent was Derevyanchenko. And I was like, shit, let's get this shit popping. And first we had, disputes over the weight because he had been fighting at 68 for a while. And I was like, well, I'm a 160. So if he don't want to fight at 160, then, we'll fight somebody else. And he was like, nah, I come down to 160. So we got it done. And I was like, shit, like I just told you, it ain't even really about who we fighting. It's about when and where we fighting at. And so they told us we fighting, in New York in July. This is in May. I was like, let's get it popping.
Damn, so Derevyanchenko, he fighting at 168 now?
His past few fights been at 168. He fought in Billy at 168. 2 years ago.
Oh, I didn't realize. Oh, you know what? Wait a minute. I remember he fought Jaime Munguia too. That was at 168.
If I'm not mistaken, yes.
Nah, you might. Nah, you know what? You're right. You're right. Damn. You know what, bro? I didn't realize because I thought he had no fought. I thought he was fighting at 160, but he had 168. Okay, cool. Thank you for educating me on that. From an experience standpoint, what worried you, or what worried you about Derevyanchenko?
He been in there with dogs and nobody stopped him. You know, a lot of us thought he beat Triple G.
Oh, me too. Yeah, he
Yeah,
definitely.
you know,
Yeah, absolutely.
he fought the Charlo brother at the time where he was fucking everybody up.
Yeah,
You know, and yeah, the Charlo did dominate him, but he couldn't stop him. You know, he fought Christian and Billy 2 years ago. Christian and Billy's fucking huge.
yeah.
That's a big guy. He fought Christian and Billy with one arm. You know, because he tore his bicep in
Oh,
like
it's
the
bicep.
second round.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember
Yeah,
that
yeah,
now. Now I
yeah.
remember
He
that. Yeah,
fought he fought eight
I remember
straight
that.
rounds with one arm. You know, so it's like my main thing was like, yeah, he tough. You know, I'm tough. And my dad and my team kept telling me, if you make this a dog fight, you're gonna lose. So don't make it a dog fight. I
So
said,
yeah, man. So bro, like I ain't gonna lie, bro. I didn't know. I'm like, damn, I didn't know he had footwork like that. Like you can really box. You get what I'm saying?
appreciate it. Yeah,
So
appreciate it.
how you like y'all worked on it. Okay, you got me and Billy. You know that he don't been in some hell of a fights. That ain't no easy out for nobody. Like you say, he ain't never been stopped. And how did his power feel? Because he caught you with quite a few right hands. You know, when y'all was in exchange and stuff, his speed was look kind of deceptive. I was like, damn, I didn't know he was for him to be that age. He got some nice hand speed. How did his power when you got hit with the right hand? How did you? What was going through your mind?
It was one of them shots where like I know I got hit, but it's like I've been hit by guys who punching harder. So it's like it wasn't like he hit me and I said, "Oh, he can't punch," so I'm just let him hit me all night.
Mm.
But he hit me and I was like, "All right, I can gamble just a little bit more because the power wasn't what I thought it would be." But he has very good timing. He definitely has very good timing.
You over there with Zuffa. We've been hearing a lot of things. You was the first fighter. I remember when the last interview we did. I think this was right before you had your first fight with Zuffa, and you spoke a lot of the good things that that what made you go sign with them and stuff like that. Now that how long have you been over there?
I signed with Zuffa in December last year. Had my first fight with them in February.
Okay, so this is your second fight.
Yes.
Okay, so um, since December last year, and you had your second fight, and you had time to elapse on it. How do you feel about your decision to go over there now?
One of the greatest decisions I could have made so far in my career. You know, if you guys know me, if you've been keeping up with me, and my career has been filled with like a lot of ups and downs. You know, whether it be like as far as not being able to get the fights that I want or being able to get any fights at all,
Mm,
to being signed with a promoter and once at one point you their guy, you take a loss and then it's like you trash.
yeah.
So I got to Zuffa and it was like, their rundown was basically we like good fights. If you're willing to come and fight and give us the good fights, we're gonna pay you. We're gonna make sure you're the best version of yourself every time you're out. So they provide with nutritionists, dietitianists, they meal plans, the whole 9 yards, just to make sure you're the best version of yourself. I have full access to the UFC PI
Mm.
in Las Vegas. I can use it whenever I want, free of cost. Year-round health coverage, with Zuffa. So it's like it's all upside.
Man, so I hear a lot of misinformation out there, and it's coming from the promoters like Oscar De La Hoya and stuff, and I understand their position because that I love this move for you, Jalil, because I remember when you was over there at Mayweather Promotions, and you spoke to me about how good Floyd and Leonard treated you when you was over there, but from a career standpoint, you had to get away. You was over there with Eddie Hearn. I remember. I don't know if you remember this conversation. You was on this show and you told me about Wisma Lima. I called him Lima Bean because I couldn't remember his name. But you told me about Wisma Lima, and you said, yeah, you was looking, you was trying to get a fight, and you reached out to somebody at Matchroom, and you said, yeah, you told him about, hey, this is the guy that I want to fight. You know what I mean. He got the IBO belt. Can you make that fight happen? And I guess they told you no, or whatever the case may be. And they say, that same dude fighting Boots. So and then you end up leaving. So you end up leaving Eddie Hearn after that, or when?
I got dropped.
And why did they drop you?
We took a loss in December 2024. In March
Controversial loss over there in Puerto Rico.
yeah, a loss is a loss, no matter how you put it. But
Yeah.
yeah, we took a loss in December 2024. We had a rematch scheduled for March of 2025. The
Okay.
rematch was canceled due to an injury I had
I remember
got
that.
just a few days before the fight. And then probably like a month after the injury, they dropped me.
So anyway, so I'm glad you said this, because so when you hear all this stuff about the audience, yeah, man, Zuffa bad and Zuffa this and that. Okay, well, Eddie Hearn is not Zuffa. That's the more traditional way of boxing, traditional promoters, and they dropped this, and they dropped Jalil Hackett like a guy, like a bad habit. They dropped him. Did you get what I'm saying? Because because I'm hearing Oscar De La Hoya saying that, yeah, they only overpaying fighters, and then they gonna do this and that. They trying to take, he's saying all this bad shit. But I'm like, dude, a lot of people ain't making most fighters ain't making no hell of a money in boxing. Only the
Hell
elite
no.
guys.
Hell no. I consider myself, a young prospect that just now became a contender recently. And in my first two fights with Zuffa, I made more in these two fights than I made in my whole first 4 years as a pro combined. I turned pro in 2021. From 2021 to 2025, I did not make as much money as I did in this year alone. And I've only fought twice this year. Put that into perspective.
Yeah, so I like the fact you was one of the first. So the brother right here said that shout out to Lake County. He said you still should be undefeated, Jalil, in my opinion.
Yeah, I hear you, but it's like that's your opinion.
Yeah.
It's the three guys who was in charge of judging the fight,
Yeah.
they all didn't come into agreement that I won. So
Yeah, yeah. Man, listen, man. I listen, bro. Like I said, I love your mentality, man. I saw you bought you a Benzo. Listen, I'm on your Instagram, right? I saw you bought you a Benzo after you had your first fight with Zuffa. Man, what's up with that?
hey man, like I said, bro, they paying. If you willing to go out there and fight, you put your life on the line for them. They put their pockets on the line for you. So it's like we in the prize fighting business. We fight for the prize. So they just making sure like we getting the fruits of our labor. That's all.
Hey, man. Who your manager? Who your manager is? Who your manager that you're working with?
My dad managed me right now.
And you got an agent?
I got an advisor.
Advisor. Okay, your advisor. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think I know who the advisor is. Is it Ish?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. You got Ish over there. You got a bad boy over there now.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. I like Ish. I like Ish. You got, yeah, man. I think, yeah, matter of fact, I just saw him not too long ago. I think he was in Vegas with Crawford.
Yeah, he was at the fight in New York as well.
Yeah, yeah. Ish a real nice dude. He don't really talk much. Um, well, I hung around him, but I never like had it like long conversations with him. He don't really talk much.
Nah, he a few words, but he get a
he
lot done.
he get
He
the
get a
job done. I'm trying.
he get
Hey,
he get a whole lot done.
hey, I'm trying to come over. I say, man, I got to get my money. I got to get things right. I got to get I got to get everything happening on my end. Cause I'm gonna try to get with him and say, it's look here, man. I ain't no world class fighter, now, man. But look, we can work something out. I need you. You see what I'm saying? I'm thinking about hiring him for his services. Um,
Nah, for sure.
Hey, man, but listen, man, I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. Like, I love the fact that you're over there with Zuffa. You got dropped by Matchroom, but don't even worry about that. Now you're with Zuffa, you're in a better situation. Do you plan on fighting any more before the year is out?
If the team says we're gonna fight one more time this year, then we're gonna fight one more time this year. But
Okay.
if not, we just gonna stay locked in, stay in the gym, stay ready. Took me a nice little week off just to, you know, relax, get my mind off of things, and now, we back active. Just waiting for another day.
So to explain to people like any young up and coming fighters, because I was at the grocery store here. I live in Tampa, right? I was at the grocery store and I saw some kids they with with the coach and stuff, and they was raising money to go to a tournament. They say they're finna go to Oklahoma for the amateurs and stuff like that. And you got a lot of people like you're a young fighter yourself, but you got some people who are just turning pro and like what advice can you give them like from what you've learned thus far in your 5 years of boxing as a pro, what advice can you give those kids that's coming up under you that may be getting ready to turn pro or have ambitions of turning pro? What advice can you give them based on what you've learned so far in your pro career?
Um, Two that I could think of off the top of my head. Number one, these promoters ain't your friends. This is a business. Do what you got to do. Do your job, and they gonna do their job. That's it. That's all. Don't go into this thinking that y'all friends, cause y'all not. Number two, I would say this is not the NBA. This is not the NFL. This is not Major League Baseball. You don't turn pro on Monday and become a millionaire on Monday. It comes with a lot of, the slow grind. So it's just like you just gotta stay diligent during the slow grind era, and it's gonna pay off over time. You just gotta stay diligent, stay focused. I feel like success is a crossroad between, luck and timing and hard work. So it's like when all those three align, then that's when it's gonna really turn to the upside.
How many fights you've had thus far?
This past fight was my 14th fight.
Okay, so for your 14 professional fight, you're being treated well by Zuffa. I think that was some great advice, letting them know that hey, the promoters are not their friends and stuff like that. And I just love your trajectory. Like again, I was very shocked that it was a pleasant surprise that to see the way you can box. You was very light on your feet. Hold on. I'm gonna tell you what I really like the way you was stepping with the jab and the way you was fainting. You would do like you were doing this stutter step, setting the jab up. You were like, pat, pat, bam, and then shoot the jab out there. You would shoot it. Sometimes you'll shoot the double jab, but then you will step with it. You do like a stutter step with it, and you get them to bite on it. Then you shoot the jab out there and drop that straight right hand. And I was like, man, I'm looking at the feints. I'm looking at everything. I'm like, man, okay. That's what y'all worked on? With your dad and
Man,
Coach Kenny?
we really just worked on listening. That's
Yeah.
all we worked on. I feel like I've always had the ability to box. People who've known me, throughout my late in my amateur career and early in my pro career, like guys who've sparred with me and guys who work with me on a regular or in the gym with me on a regular, they say
Uh,
Jalil has always been able to box like this. But it's like nobody's ever made me bring that side out. It's like if I can walk you down and beat you up and make it where you're scared to fight, why not do that? So I give huge shouts to Derevyanchenko, because it takes a fighter of that caliber to make me dig deeper in my bag and, show the boxing ability.
man, hold on. We got a cash out, man. Super chat. Shout out to Lake County. Dropping that quarter of a dub. He said, how was your weight management between fights? Because when you were at welterweight, you used to blow up in between fights, to be honest. Is that why you moved up?
I moved up because I stayed at welterweight longer than I should have. Hindsight 2020, I probably when I went to Matchroom, I probably would have moved up to 54. I probably would have never fought a fight at 147 with Matchroom. But I stayed at 147 because I felt like I had the ability to win a world title at 147. That's why when my first fight with Matchroom was for the WBA Continental Americas title, because I was more or less trying to fast track my way to a belt as soon as possible. You know, um, just being young, at the time I was 21 years old, very, very like ambitious, had my mind made up that I'm gonna win a belt at 147. And it didn't pan out, of course, but now that we're at 160, I feel like I could be at 160 for a while. And with Zuffa and the UFC I feel like that really extends that wow a little bit longer due to the fact that they making weight a lot easier because they provide me
Mm.
with supplements and nutritionists and dietitians, well, dietitianists, I'm sorry, to help me, prepare myself to, get ready for a fight and cut weight the correct way. Like the past two fights, with me fighting my first fight with Zuffa in February, and then this fight with Zuffa and this past Sunday, they both camps, especially for fight week, leading up to fight week, it was like a cakewalk. I've never in my whole career ate breakfast the morning before a weigh-in, let alone ate any type of food the morning
Mm.
before a weigh-in. But with Zuffa, I'm eating like full meals throughout the whole fight week, and then the day before weighing, I'm still like eating breakfast and eating snacks, you know, the day before. So it's like they definitely have prolonged my career as a middleweight.
Bro, they got all that over
Yeah, I'm not, I'm not hyping them up. This is not paid promo, none of that.
there.
But it's like, me, and people who
Yeah,
know me know I love food.
yeah.
They made it where like this whole camp, I ate good the whole camp. Ate good the whole camp. Fight week, I ate good the whole fight week. We fought on a Sunday. I ate good Friday. Friday was the day before weigh-in. I still ate good that day. And it was like I still came in nearly 4 pounds underweight. And the 4 pounds underweight was a miscalculation on my behalf. Because if I would have known I was gonna be that low, I probably would have ate a little bit more the night before weigh-in.
Damn.
I only ate a little bit because I was unsure about my weight because I didn't pack a scale with me like I usually do. So I was using Zuffa's official scale every night. So I would check my weight and then I would just go to bed. If I would have had my scale with me, I probably would have checked my weight when I got to my room, seen how low I was, and I probably would have ate a snack before bed.
So when you was with Matchroom, they didn't provide like what Zuffa's doing, having a nutritionist and having a what else you
No,
have?
no. It was get it how you live. Get it how you live. The only thing I can say about Matchroom as far as the weight process was they did, like a lot of other promoters are starting to do, they did have early weigh-ins. Like the weigh-ins were super, super early. And
Yeah.
that is like for like the fighters, that have a hard time making weight.
I was talking to Buddy McGirt one time. I had an interview with Buddy McGirt then and Tim Bradley, but definitely Buddy McGirt. And we know you have a lot of fighters, they struggle to make weight, they miss weight, and stuff like that. When he said how you rectify that, because Buddy McGirt old school, you have same day weigh-ins. Because he came up in the era of same day weigh-ins. He said if you have same day weigh-ins, then you will have guys fighting at the weight they should be fighting at. How do you feel about that?
I agree. Only thing is, if you had same day weigh-ins, there's a lot of these fighters that wouldn't fight no more.
Yeah.
A lot of these guys that just
Facts.
wouldn't fight no more.
Facts. Facts. Hey, bro, right about that shit. It's a whole bunch of motherfuckers ain't gonna fight. Yeah, dog. You know what, dog? I'm finna go to Amazon, dog. I'm finna go get. I got a job at Amazon. Anyway, hey, Jalil, man, let everybody know, man. Like, is there like you're pretty sure you made some new fans. People got a chance to see you fight that Zuffa card. I want to say that was the best card they had thus far. I really, really enjoyed that card Sunday night. It was pleasant seeing you. Shout out to Coach Kenny. Shout out to Coach Bernard, your dad. Anything you want to say to the fans, before you go, to give them your social media and stuff like that, how to follow you, what you have going on, stuff like that outside of boxing.
You can follow me on Instagram, Jalil_Hackett,
Good talk.
Twitter, Jalil Hackett, YouTube, Jalil Major Hackett, almost anywhere else, Jalil Hackett or Jalil Major Hackett. I appreciate everybody who supports me. Appreciate everybody who, tuned in last Sunday. Appreciate you, Malachi, for having me on. Thankful for my whole team. Thankful for Zuffa. Thankful for the guys, that helped prepare me for this fight. And shit, we'll be back in action sooner than later.
Before you go, I want you to answer this. Shout out to Lake County. Dropping that $2 super chat. He say, any plans on Zuffa making you and Mosley Jr. soon?
Hey, if there's a will, there's a way. Like I said, I haven't really been on I'll fight this person, but I won't fight this person.
Mm.
I've been really when and where. When and where. I haven't really been too pressed on asking about the number because the number has been great. We 2 fights in with Zuffa. Both fights, I've gotten a great number. And the number gets greater. You know, if we can say Zuffa, my first fight with Zuffa, if we can say that number was good, this fight that was last Sunday, that number was great. And you know, I gave them 2 good performances, and since the performances were good, the number increased. I'm assuming next go around the number is probably going to increase again. So it's not about who we're fighting; it's about when we're fighting and where we're fighting at, so I can make sure my ass is there. So Shane Mosley, yes. It the clown, yes. It don't matter who it is. Yes, 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 yes. As long as we both make the 160-pound limit, we gonna fight.
Man, I like that mindset, man. My only advice, cause I know you how you get out there. You with the shits. Just listen to your team. That's it. Listen to your team.
Absolutely,
That's it. Yeah, listen to them.
absolutely. You know, my team know how I rock. They know how I rock. You know, as long as the number good, we gonna get down. You know, this camp right here, I gotta give a huge shout out to my team because they came in with the game plan for this fight. And they say if you follow the game plan, you're gonna win. And if you don't follow the game plan, you're gonna lose. So I said, shit, I don't wanna lose. So I'm gonna follow the game plan. And you know, I followed the game plan and we went out there and we were successful. You know, we still got a lot to work on, but you know, we had a good night out, and you know, now we're gonna get back in the gym and prepare for whoever they send us next.
Lake County asked one more question. He said, can Zuffa get you non-Zuffa fighters like Amo?
Yes, yes. If it make money, it makes sense. You know, look at Conor Ben. Conor Ben's about to fight Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia is not a Zuffa fighter. You know, so it's possible. They can make it happen. They got the money. They can afford to do almost anything they want.
Man, I appreciate you, Jalil, man. I want to thank you so much, brother, for taking the time out of your busy day to stop by, man. I saw you on the Boxing Voice this morning. Shout out to them boys, man. And you making your rounds, man. Bro, listen, just let me know when you have another fight. I was supposed to get you on the show before the fight, but that was my fault. I forgot to reach back out to your dad. And then when I remembered, it was like you had 3 days until fight. And I'm like, I ain't finna call him. I'm kind of superstitious. I feel like I don't want to do nothing like there's whatever routine you have, because I know fighters have a routine. I don't want to mess that routine up. So I say I'll just get with them after the fight, you know.
No, for sure. And I definitely appreciate that. I definitely appreciate that a lot. You know, you being empathetic for the fighters, because I think I'm probably speaking for almost all fighters. Fight week, a lot of fighters are men of few words. I just leave it at that. And you know, this go around, it wasn't really as far as like, oh, I don't want to talk because I'm drained, I'm tired. I don't want to talk because I'm focused. So it's like, you know, I appreciate you for that. But you know, you got my number.
Yes, sir.
You can always hit me up. You know, I'm always open to talk to you. So like I said, I appreciate you for having me. And I appreciate all the fans that support me. You know, whether you watching to see me win or watching to see me lose, you still watch. So thank
All right,
y'all.
man, I appreciate you, man. Let's give Jalil Hackett a round of applause. Let's give Jalil a round of applause, man. Yeah, man, that's what I'm talking about. I fuck with Jalil. See, that's what I'm talking about, man. See, you know what I mean? I fuss with Jalil, man. Just any fighter. As I said before, like, I think it was very important for me just to give Jalil so our brother can see that I do have a boxing criteria. So I judge every fighter based on that criteria.